Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
राज, बाबूजी के आशीर्वाद से हमने अपनी नई शुरुआत तो कर ली, पर अपना फ्यूचर प्लान कैसे करें?
बड़े बड़े शहरों में ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं।
Looking for perfect start? Get a Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
जब मैं तेरी उम्र का था ना, तो एक सक्सेसफुल करियर, लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग सब रेडी करके रख चुका था। और एक इन महाराज को देखो, पूरा दिन फोन में लगा रहेगा।
दैट प्लानिंग तो मैंने भी कर रखी है, Unocoin के साथ।
नए जमाने के साथ नई चीजें आजमाएं। Looking for Bitcoin? Download the Unocoin app.
Guys, we really need to work hard. This wasn't a good quarter. Tell me, are you happy with this?
Unocoin.
Want to earn Bitcoin? Just grab your phone and shake it. Download the Unocoin app.
Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin,
Bitcoin.
Get a systematic buying plan from the Unocoin app to get your Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
ओके हेलो एवरीवन वंस अगेन वेलकम बैक टू आवर वीकली लाइव सेशन। तो जैसा कि कल मैंने आपको बताया था, आज हमारा एक खास सेशन है वेयर वी हैव द सीईओ ऑफ Unocoin मिस्टर सात्विक विश्वनाथ आफ्टर अ लॉन्ग टाइम विद अस, एंड ही इज somebody who has seen most of the cycles and very closely. So we're going to get some interesting insights from him today on Bitcoin through the cycles, lessons from the past and some insights for the future. So guys, please welcome Mr. Sathvik Vishwanath, the CEO of Unocoin. Hi Sathvik, good evening, how are you? Satvik, I think you're on mute.
Hi, Shambhavi.
Hi, how are you? Been so long since we've had you.
Yeah, maybe more than a couple of months already. Sure.
Yes. Yes, and actually I'm very excited for today's session because I know you are somebody who's seen all of these cycles so closely, and now that we are nearing 100K, I think we were just $500 away from 100K, and then we went into a dump again. So all those things counted. How excited are you to see this mark of 100K? Because you have seen Bitcoin's price from what I don't even know since when have you seen at what dollar price?
I think I was more excited when Bitcoin price hit 1,000.
Okay.
than it is what is right now. Okay, so right now at least we actually see lot of real reasons, right? So it is no more like pure speculation
Yeah.
and fad anymore, right? So nowadays it's, yeah, to some extent that exists, but you also know, okay, because of this reason there was a increase of 3% today. That is actually possible today, but it was not so, say about 10 years ago, right? So, and it was only partial again about 5 6 years ago. So, and this particular cycle, when you keep on seeing again and again and again, you just get immune to it, kind of. This is already my fourth cycle of whatever is happening. So I don't know manage. I mean, I don't know whether I should um, feel good about it or bad about it. When
What
others are excited, I am not.
about it?
So, but however, yes. But whatever were more like theories about 5 years ago, 10 years ago, is more becoming like practical now. So I think the efforts for Bitcoin to go from, let's say, 1,000 to 100,000, that is way more than the efforts that it will now take to go maybe up to 200k. Next 100k may be more easier as compared to the first 100k.
Yeah.
So that's how it actually works, I guess. So, but if you again calculate like 4 year cycle that people always talk about, 2024 is not the bull year. It is a just,
Pre-bull.
kind of.
Yeah.
So it's just starting up, kind of thing. So if that is all true, and on the other side, this time it I mean, what more is interesting to me is, we know at least like a few pointers which actually will make it more bullish next year already. So we know today already, right? So one is the Trump is even yet to pick up his, I mean, actually get into his seat, in fact. So that is like, and how much bullish he is, and how much he's towards digitization and efficiency and such things, right? So, and then also crypto, he is kind of fan. He is trying to have his own exchange and tokens and whatnot, right? So that is on one side of the story. And it is definitely not like he's trying to do that for money. He has freaking lots of money. Don't give a damn about money today. So if he's doing it, probably he definitely is seeing more in whatever we are trying to do than what we can see it ourselves. We are way too close to it, right? So if we actually start seeing from bureaucratic perspective, political perspective, then the financial economy, I mean, the ecosystem standpoint perspective, and taxation perspective, he will actually obviously have much thing. And if it is not like so, I don't think with him having such a chance of winning. Anyway, he won, but when he started the exchange a few months ago, I don't think he would have really done it, tried doing it. So these are all like the subtle hints we continue to get. And then again, MicroStrategy, that is like never stopping
Yeah.
stopping whatever they were buying. Right, so that is on the other side. But the MicroStrategy one, I am not way too bullish it will happen for next 5 years, 10 years. I don't think so. Probably from next year on, it will start having the kind of consolidation and such. And once the bearish market enters, and the gains that people have seen till today through MSTR share equity, right? So that kind of become like a normal thing. It will not be like super bullish like what it is today. It is because this guy will again continue to raise more money and get more Bitcoin next year as well. And if by the definition of 4 year cycle, if the price falls in 2026, then people who have invested in MSTR equity would have the costlier Bitcoin indirectly as compared to the price of Bitcoin itself. See, that will definitely happen one or the other day. Unless that guy stops now and Bitcoin never falls down, both of them are not happening.
I've personally never believed in the buying the MSTR theory, but people who, to each its own, I believe in that. So everybody whosoever likes it, that's fine. But I feel like it's his future plan for a second business.
See, the beauty of MSTR is it is pure equity, right? So it is not like ETF or anything like that. So it's direct. You're just buying the equity, and you exactly know one equity is how much piece of Bitcoin and such, which is held by the company, and it actually works at a premium because there is also some cost involved for them to run the company and provide the storage for those Bitcoin securely, and all such things. So there is also a lot of people. I would, instead of telling people, I should say maybe entities or maybe bigger organizations, right? Including maybe some kind of pension fund, that this like lot of things. So them getting exposure to Bitcoin is way way complicated as compared to them just getting MSTR.
True.
Okay, so because buying MSTR is as simple as, okay, till now I was buying Apple, now I'll buy MSTR as well. Full stop. That's it. End of it, right? But if they try to say, okay, let me try to own Bitcoin, then it will have a comparatively larger paperwork to get it done from their approvers, whoever it is, and then you need to have the knowledge of securing your account, whether you could try to do it in Coinbase or Kraken or whatnot there, and then securing it over a period of time, and who takes the responsibility of it. So all of that is like completely kept aside if you just buy MSTR share, and you almost have the same proportionate exposure. Okay, so let's say today with the Bitcoin price, for example, is 95K, and if you're buying it through MSTR, equivalent of one Bitcoin, like X number of shares, maybe you're buying it at 105K, right? So which is probably like 10% premium, let's say, right? So that premium would continue to exist all time. So, and also when people are getting exposure to Bitcoin, smaller difference in premium, they are less sensitive to it because their bigger picture is, okay, at least I want to make 30% on top of it in next 2 3 years. I mean, I'm saying 30 because people don't get misled, but it's never 30. It's like way way lot more. Okay, so that's the kind of the thing that people have, and because of that, it actually makes a lot of sense for them to just buy yeah, equity of MSTR and just like be done with it, right? And yeah, I mean, like this, we can already start seeing the reasons why next year will be a better year.
Mhm.
And that was not so in 2016, it was not so in 2020, it was not so in 2012, when the next subsequent year of all three was actually a bull year.
Mhm.
Now, because it was such news was not there, and the actual bull happened, that's good. But now because the bull is already there, and because people already priced it in, because we actually are seeing the good price for BTC, the next year how much bull it will be, that's like unknown. But I would always calculate whatever is the all-time high of this cycle as compared to all-time high of next cycle. It does not matter which year is happening. So last time it was like 69K. So we'll have to see what it eventually means this time.
Yeah, I think there are quite a few predictions around it, and very interesting ones, and they are all backed by different theories. And I've been attending quite a lot of these sessions as of late, and they're very interesting. They're very intriguing. But what I have at least understood in whatever study I've done around Bitcoin, that it's never about where it's gonna get. We all know it's gonna go. It's only gonna go up. So it's just better to keep stacking and as much as we can and as and when we can. So
That's
that is the idea. Just today, a very interesting thing happened. I think there's another company from China, SOS Limited or something. They have also pledged to buy a certain amount of bitcoins and put it on their balance sheet now. Now, a lot of equity people are getting intrigued by it. So, do you think this is going to be a new motion of customers into the market?
I definitely think so, because you always look forward for some companies what they're trying to do. Okay, so and if it is something the same thing that normal people as like individuals like you and me can also do it, then we intend to do it just because we don't have the enough skill set and resources to do the same analysis and understand the performance like the bigger companies would have done. So, like again, how they would be diversifying the investment, the individuals also to diversify the investment without comparatively full knowledge, because individuals cannot do what
Yeah,
bigger companies can do.
absolutely.
Okay, so yes, so in this way, when more and more entities are entering this space in either directly or through ETF or through MicroStrategy or any equivalent, what I still don't know is why only MicroStrategy is so famous. Why there are not many other such companies? Because any number of companies can be formed like that, whatever they are trying to do, right? So uh, so I was trying to say, but these things like exist, right? It's not like it's kind of going away. So over a period of time, every 4 years we have seen this cycle, and that fourth year is the upcoming next year, I guess. So which is which I think is like we should be equally excited about. And these kinds of companies buying more and more Bitcoin, are more new companies coming up and buying more Bitcoin, which is actually seen much more positive, because there is people who are involuntarily getting exposed to the Bitcoin, who already have equity in those kinds of companies, right? And then there are people who actually want to get in because whoever they're on the fence, and now that okay, now it's like two things. One is exposure to whatever they are doing, and their exposure to also Bitcoin. And it is like buying equity of the company and also Bitcoin. And if you're buying one thing, it's already like the diversification, like mutual funds.
True that. I mean, yeah, but, I think for the longest time I've called MSTR shares like the ETF ka chota bhai because I mean, fulfilling the same purpose anyways. And I think a major reason why people are buying MSTR shares is because it holds such a grand value of bitcoins on its balance sheet. So I think there's theory around it that equity people like to talk about. But now coming to what's special about this cycle, Satvik, we've never seen such regulatory, such regulatory, intervention before. But this year, at least in this cycle, not this year, this cycle we have seen plenty of it. How do you think that has affected or will affect the upcoming days?
So what is new this cycle? Um, I think as compared to previous another the previous cycle, more people want Bitcoin.
True.
Okay, so and that is the reason why we have the fourth cycle, right? So this definitely I would say it's fourth cycle, like 13 and then 17, 21 and 25. So it's like fourth cycle, and it is also about in every cycle who are the new ones bringing in money. If no one is bringing in new money, then the price is not going up. It's as simple as that, right? So in 2013, it was like lot of tech enthusiasts kind of thing. And 2017, I would say it's comparatively individuals and not much of companies, but completely due to lack of regulation. So everyone was like fine. Only China was saying now and then they have banned Bitcoin again. But else that's like not much of issue. 2021, we actually saw some corporates and entities and organizations having some exposure to Bitcoin, and those entities were comparatively huge. So that gave the bull run. And now the question will be, it's really who is going to feel this one, right? So that question actually, I practically I don't have the answer for. If there is no new complete sector of people who were on the fence previously, but who are now jumping in, if people or entities organizations like that does not exist, then it is not going to be a real bull run. We will just like eyewash. Maybe it will go up to 1.5 times or whatever it is or something like that. We will not see how it used to be, maybe 100x or 20x or anything like that. So this time definitely it's not going to happen. So I think some 2x 2.5x of the last bull run is like more practical to me, because the 2017 bull run to 21 bull run, the multiplier was just 3.5, right? And in 2013 it was like what, I don't know, it's more than 1,000. But if you just see through 13 year alone, it went up from 16 to 1,000, so which is almost like 60 times. Right, so 2000. So if you see 1,000 as the number that you want to keep, then 2017 ka it was a 15x. Sorry, no, it was 15 lakhs in India, which was like 20x. 20, like $20,000 is what it
It
actually.
used to be 15 lakh. Now it's 98.
No, likewise, yeah. So that was like a so it was 15x. So 15x, and then it is like 3.5x. Now we have to say maybe if it reaches 3x, I'll be like super duper good, at least, right? So, but expecting much more than that is actually challenging anyway. Because like who's bringing that kind of money will be a bigger challenge, right? So at that time, going from say $16 to $1,000, the total amount of money that was required was kind of maybe mere $10 billion, right? So it was more available. But now if you're talking about even 2x 3x, we are talking about trillions of dollars already. So $2 trillion alone is the market cap for Bitcoin today. So yeah, so that will be the thing. And also I was looking at this very interesting chart where they rank the assets of the world, including cryptocurrencies. So we just surpassed the silver. last week. So that essentially means the total value of Bitcoin in the world, which is only like 15 years old, is way more. I mean, like some more, extra more, like not like way more, because it will be way more only in the future, not today yet. So more than the total amount of silver that was ever mined and created. Right. So, and silver exists since when? I don't know. As long as I know, as long as you know, it's always.
Yep.
And for the gold, it is another 6x. So, and in between, you have Nvidia, you have Apple, uh, then you have, I think, Microsoft as well, and Amazon, and that's pretty much it. And there is one Arab company as well. So yeah, and I think these 3-4 things to go up just before the gold, it's all like the next 2x it is there, way before next 2x itself. But the gold will be after that. The gold will be another 3x. So that the gold will be a challenging one. I mean, like reaching these things, if not this bull market, I think the next bull market, I think. So it's like
Yeah,
possible.
it'll happen. I think, forgive me everybody for marketing SBP so much, but I think after starting to use SBP and dollar cost averaging, I've stopped bothering about, how high it'll go. I know it'll go. My idea is that I'm doing it. I'm stacking whatever I can with whatever possible savings I can make. That's it. Because once you understand the fundamentals, it's like an obvious that you have to do it. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. The hardest money, I think, very recently, an Indian economist quoted Bitcoin as the hardest money on the planet as of now. So that indeed is a big remark, because in India, most people I talk to, certainly have this question: is it even legal to invest in it? Till now, after all the things. So
That's always there. On the other side, it's like I think the government in our country has done a really good job of keeping people confused.
I agree.
So unfortunately, yes, we don't know. I mean, like legality, yes, but where is it written that it is legal? We don't have it clearly anywhere. So now we kind of, okay, look, we have the advertisement regulation, then we have FIU, which is regulating us, the industry, and then there is taxation, which is explicitly done for this. So, and then the GST departments who have given the exact guidelines of it. So it's all like, okay, TK, but still, where is it legal? Right. So that is the thing that we still don't have. But now I think the way the rest of the world is going, the chances for India to actually term it as outlawed will only become less and less.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think, I remember last time we had a session, our government was supposed to come up with a crypto regulation paper, but that never really came. September was supposed to come. So there's no news also around when they are now planning
Because yeah,
to do it.
in India, people just forget. Yeah. It's like easy. When it comes to government doing it, so because okay, take care whenever they have enough time and enough resources, they'll do. So the first thing that people will forgive is the government, right? So for whatever reason, the only reason when they again remember how come the government is not doing is when they find potholes in the road.
Yeah.
Else, yeah. But these actually are potholes in the technology. You have to fill it up as well in a way.
But most certainly, I think once the 100K bell rings, then the government will actually get on to, maybe jotting down the regulation that they were supposed to. Because, I mean, right now, the biggest confusion is with if it is legal, if it is not legal, where do I buy it? If I'm buying it from somewhere, is it going to be legal? Is the police going to come to my place and maybe just arrest me or something? These are the questions I get when I'm talking to normal people about Bitcoin. And this after 15 years, after I think it's been 3 years since we have been paying the VDA taxes now.
Extra tax.
After that, it's really strange that this is still happening. But I think with 100K mark, we're gonna see more and more people getting intrigued to at least learn about what's going on with it, because that's a huge mark.
Hope so. Let's see.
So, Satvik, again, coming back to the regulatory part, right now, what do you think is required in the Indian landscape as such, from an exchange perspective, that is going to help maybe speed up the adoption, and if not speed up the adoption, at least clear up the air of confusion?
See, I think the regulation is not like we want partial or anything like that. So we will, when it comes, we just want it like to say I answer most of our questions. Today we of course have way lot of questions, and we're still living with it and such. And I don't think the price really have a lot of effect for the regulation to get, for us to get the regulation sooner. I don't think so. So because on the other side, it's also true that for whatever has happened so far in India, including 2 years of banking ban to uh, then taxation and TDS and such things, the total amount of crypto in India, as compared to the total percentage of population in India, so we are not even like 10%. So what I mean to say is, okay, if we are 18% of the world, then do we have like 18% of the crypto in India? So if the answer is no, then what percent we have? I'd be surprised to know even if it is more than 1.8. So what I'm trying to say is, irrespective of how fast, how quick, and how much the price increase happens, because the total assets within India, for which the government definitely have a good check on, because it comes as a part of FIU, and like it's all the regulated exchanges and such, and they can, they'll see how much are the balances to the trades happening. So it is easy to kind of draw some kind of conclusion on like what kind of assets totally may exist within India, even if not everything is declared in exchanges. And now the companies, private limited companies, must and should declare the crypto assets if they have. So it's like, I mean, whenever they are filing their returns and such. So because of this, they will know. So if you're talking, okay, worldwide, there is 3 trillion worth of Bitcoin. And within India, we have like maybe 10 billion, 15 billion. Then that is not a, and if 10 became 15, how much of the difference it is? It's like 5 billion difference, right? So that alone, I think it may not trigger. But instead, India as well has to work with a lot of other global players, right? So some countries around us, to developed countries in Europe, UK, UAE, US, or maybe Singapore, anything like that. So which actually have some kind of rules around the crypto and view around the crypto already. I think that will be a more pressure point for the government to come up with some kind of stance and like how exactly they want to treat it, as compared to just the price alone. The only people who only price alone is income tax. Okay. Oh my God, you're making so much of money. Give me some money. Right? It's just kind of thing. Not for regulation.
Yeah, indeed. Income tax is going to have, it's going to be on its toe, after, for whosoever's been trading and making good profits and everything. So I think the best idea, what also I have adopted, not a financial advice, guys. You can choose to do as you please, but I have, you know, I have this thing that I'm not going to liquidate my sats until at least, I need it like बहुत ज़्यादा, or I don't know, the regulation eases up or something, and I don't have to pay 30% taxes.
We
So
will live the taxes. I don't think there is a way around that.
yeah, just don't liquidate it.
Yeah,
Simple.
this likely don't liquidate for time being. See, there will definitely be a time. No, it is not like if you want money, you have to liquidate. That's not true, right? So over a period of time, maybe in another 5 years, like 8 years, right? So another two more bull runs. So it may be possible that you will eventually have institutions. I mean, right now, Unocoin also provides that service where you can pledge Bitcoin and take money and use it, right?
Yeah, that's so perfect. I mean, I don't have to lose my bitcoins.
Yeah. So if you see, for example, we talk about how come big industrialists do not pay income tax. It is just because the way they have managed it, right? So yes, they have the equity, fine. They will do, I mean, have the leverage on top of it, and that money is sufficient for them to do whatever they are trying to do. And whatever money they actually spend for living or for their family, for their home, is such a minuscule of everything that it doesn't even count of the total money that they have. So even if they are making like 20% of extra wealth of whatever they have every single year, um, for appreciation and whatever things. It's not like they have to pay the taxes on top of it, and they will figure out what to do, when to do, what taxes and such things, because a lot of them will eventually go for fine. All of this is done, and now the families and children are settled, and then now let's look at the philanthropy side of things, and they will just donate all the equity to trust, and when the trust sells it, the money is there. There is like it's not directly taxable anyway, and they will again utilize the services of trust to continue their philanthropy and such things. So this is what I have seen, them to do. It's not like they will pay the taxes. It's not true. And in your case, because you're individual and you may not go in that direction, the easiest way for you is actually like take a leverage on top of it and do what you want. It's still fine.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good option because many a times I think I've heard stories of people liquidating their bitcoins when they needed to buy a home or they wanted to buy a home. So, I mean, instead of doing that, you can just pledge your bitcoins, take the money as in the loan or mortgage is the right word. I'm not sure.
Mortgage for a home, yeah, sure.
Mortgage. So they can take it like that, utilize the money and just pay it back as and when and get their bitcoins back. Simple. And that's such a convenient thing to do. But sadly, even right now, people are a lot of people won't even consider home loans when it comes down to taking their
See,
places.
when it comes to Bitcoin, right? When like it's nearing to some kind of like all-time high, like today, or whatever it has happened every 4 years. There's so many people will be there. Okay, this probably will be the last bull run. I may not see another one again. And they'll say, okay, fine, this time let me give 70% of whatever I have. It's fine, you'll remaining have 30. And then after 1 year, they'll start repenting. And so it's like for individuals, buying Bitcoin is such a huge deal, unless they are like a HNI, right? So where they have like a lot of deep pockets and they can still afford maybe like 5 crore, 10 crore rupees to just buy some reasonable amount of Bitcoin. Or else, lot of times, whatever you buy, it just means over a period of time you're liquidating, and once you start liquidating, it's unless you're like a trader, which then you're doing it for a living. But else, if you're a normal investor, buying it back is tough. It's very tough. And if you're buying it back, in all likelihood, you're buying it back costlier.
Yeah, you will never get the bitcoins at the same price as you maybe have gotten. That's a very rare sight. I've seen somebody that, they sold it at a high and then they got it at a cheaper rate or at the same rate even. That doesn't happen. And I think I was very lucky when, I got into Bitcoin during the bear run, and then I actually got my first salary when it was somewhere around 16, 17. So I started investing then. And I still like the fact, a lot of people say around that you get the sats at the price that you deserve. So I feel very privileged about that because I got it better than most people would now.
And
So
you also had enough knowledge because of these AMAs, which made
yeah,
it made
thank
you not to
you
sell.
and Sunny 100%.
I mean, than me, I think Sunny would be the one who would have actually
Yeah.
brainwashed people, would have brainwashed you as well. He's like the like
He's
100%.
played a major role, certainly. He's the one, I would say, he's the one who's orange pilled me like that because, he is such a bullish person on Bitcoin and he doesn't like talking about anything else. This always intrigued me. Like, what is with Sunny and not talking about anything else? Now I understand it.
You'll understand it you will understand it once every 4 years.
True that. Now, coming to this very interesting thing that you mentioned, Satvik, there's something called the all seasons, and I think as the dominance of Bitcoin's dominance is reduced somehow, in the overall crypto market, but it still stays at the top, about with 58% of the market share, as I remember last. How do you think there are cryptocurrencies that are going to give tucker to Bitcoin ever, or they can give it now in this upcoming bull run, or Bitcoin is going to be the king forever?
See, I think it is definitely about the network effect.
Sure.
If the so-called network effect is like initial stages or maybe a little bit matured but not fully matured kind of thing, if a new one comes up which is as strong or better, right? So then there is some chance that yes, the new crowd may shift towards the new one. But I think that is kind of that time is over now, I guess. So which means the kind of network effect and the trust that people are having on Bitcoin, there are a lot of people who actually trade other crypto
Yeah.
so that they can use that money to get Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So now the challenge is, okay, when you actually have invested in Bitcoin, then what you should do, right? So then you already in whatever you are supposed to have eventually, like, so there are some people who might like, when do you want to exit, right? So that is like the question I sometimes ask, not like officially, but just to know. And there are people who say that, what do you mean my exit is Bitcoin? I said, okay, there is like no point in exiting from this, and when I need it, it is there. That's pretty much it. And yeah, it will be there enough so that I'll whatever I need, it's like completely supported. And that's the kind of confidence that people have it. They don't even have it on insurance, they don't even have it on pension fund, but they have
True.
it on Bitcoin. So, and everything else I'm talking about is there since centuries and centuries, and it is not like such a new thing like Bitcoin, right? So, so that's what is like very, because it is so short term, people don't want to believe it, and people don't want to believe it because they did not participate sooner, and they cannot participate now, and they will only repent later, a lot of them, right? So, um, nowadays when the people are hitting Bitcoin, either because they have so much of money that it does not matter whether they bought Bitcoin or not, are the ones who wanted to buy Bitcoin sooner but they didn't buy. So there is no other normal people who actually like try to hate it or have any kind of stance about it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So a lot of my friends, I was telling all of them about, getting Bitcoins, and it was like 18, 20 around that price, that, just keep some, start stacking some, and keep learning about it while you can, and all those things. Now they're asking me that, this has already reached 100K now. Tell me another Bitcoin that I can invest in and will reach 100K in some time. So these are the questions that we get. I think I think the existence of crypto is also highly deflecting for the people coming into the market, because they look at meme coins, they look at the 100x wala gain that they are going to get investing in Dogecoin or Shiba Inu. So that is very problematic as I see right now. ठीक है, थोड़ी सी research करके, even if even if you're thinking Ethereum, that is fine, because Ethereum has a history and everything, intrinsic value, but meme coins don't. So that is one major thing, at least I see around, that is happening.
So people actually compare meme coin to fiat. Okay.
Yeah.
because it actually, yeah, doesn't have anything like apart from the promises, nothing is underlying.
Yeah.
Seriously, kind of thing. But when it comes to market dominance as well, in the very recent, say 1 year or so, the maximum I have seen is like 60%, right? So now it is like 58. It just because it's some of the alts actually did grow in value a little bit since like this week, I think. So I'll be a little upset if it is below 50, and way lot upset if it is below 40. But I mean, it's like, now you literally are saying the first one in the rank is 60% of a list which actually have 10,000 of coins. Is like, can some other reader, if give Tucker, it's like it's challenging, at least not in very short term. I guess. And also, like, again, it comes to network effect, right? So why, someone cannot challenge, say, Twitter, is because, so if you really want it, then the people behavior itself have to change. Not, they don't like the tweeting anymore, they want long format some communications or anything like that, which is like unlikely, right? And after the behavior changes, you should have a platform which actually is feeding to that particular behavior, right? So there are definitely like a lot of, say, for example, Facebook, right? So there was quite a few similar to that. Like one was called Orkut, and if you know, like Friendster. So those are all the different services. But once it reaches that, critical mass, it actually becomes tough for another competitor, even if it is too good, to actually replace it, unless the people's behavior also change and that similar kind of network effect gets achieved. Else it will still be like partial successful thing itself. And moreover, when it comes to a technology like Bitcoin, another thing is like super interesting is, once we will start looking at lot of applications that is happening through Bitcoin, then people don't worry care about the underlying Bitcoin. They just like, okay, remittances, the way it's happening is like good, and okay, now we are doing the payments for your purchases. It's just the way it's happening, and then okay, you're just having some as a part of your asset class, etc. Right? So you don't really recognize so much that Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and that's why it's happening this way. It just becomes, it will slowly, there are other things that get built on top of Bitcoin. So why I'm putting it this way is also because, see, today, how much do we worry about, IP address of a computer? Right. So at one point of time, it was, of course, it's like important, and the way we used to give DNS and making figure out that it's like
I
all.
don't even know the IP address of my computer.
I mean, no one does, but the point is, IP4. That's what we call IPv4 version 4, which became so famous and so widespread that since 10 years we already have IPv6, and still it has not replaced any major part of IPv4, because you don't care whether it's IPv4 or IPv6 anymore anywhere. And you have built on top of it, you have built like the complete internet web and your messengers and say AMAs or whatever 100,000 different things. Now the first question is, okay, what is it getting restricted because we are not upgrading from IPv4 to IPv6? When the answer is nothing, then they say that, okay, don't fix a problem which does not exist.
Yeah.
Okay, so now if you apply the same logic to Bitcoin, so the problem that Bitcoin will continue to have is non-availability of smart contracts, right? So for that, they are building something called layer 2, on which it eventually will exist anyway. There are some which are already, and out of the, see, when it comes to Bitcoin, it's one thing, but if it comes to layer 2 on Bitcoin, there are multiple layers. Layer 2, layer 2, layer 2, like I think like 4, 5, 6 things are there. Who companies which are trying to build a layer 2. So one or two will eventually be like super successful. So when that also comes, people will forget, okay, what is really behind the scenes? It's like they don't worry and care. To some extent, yes, people will treat it like an asset. Some people will understand it, some people will hold it. But then the reason why it is valuable is also because of its utilities. So when the utility part of the Bitcoin ecosystem, it need not tell it is running because of Bitcoin. So and yeah, out of these things, if I see, I think for something else to come and have the network effect of what Bitcoin is and the kind of trustworthiness that people have, there are people who say that I want to take my Bitcoin to grave. I mean, like, they're not talking about anything else, not even their family, their money, or anything that they have. It's like, okay, that's what, like, even on the last day, I still want to hold Bitcoin. And what exactly has given them that kind of trust? Okay, and the trust is because they need not believe in anyone.
Yeah, don't trust, verify.
Yeah. So now that they are not believing in anyone, it just means at the end it could be their own children, their own money, their own government, their own country. Anything can betray. But here we're sitting with something which is like, it's neither clearly an asset, nor a security, nor a commodity, nor a payment instrument, but in a way everything of little little everything. And that does not depend on anyone, and it just goes because you want it to go, and it is yours when you want it to be yours. And that is the freedom that people actually would eventually understand and pay the money for.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think most people, at least I've seen on Twitter, that have got Bitcoin, who are Bitcoin maxis, have got some element of freedom or sovereignty mentioned into their bios or something, because they understand that how important, or how much it resonates with the idea of sovereignty and of course freedom, and the idea of having the control of your own funds. That is such a big deal. And I jokingly say this a lot of times, that it's all in front of our eyes, and it takes Satoshi Nakamoto to create a new currency altogether for us to see what is wrong with the entire system that we are living in. But then again, you know it took it, and I'm happy that Bitcoin is there, and that if not the entire world, a good portion of the world is now aware of it and they understand it. So one more question, Satvik. It's close to 100K. Do you think somebody getting in market is still early to Bitcoin?
See, if I see the world, right? So we probably, what, maybe about 2% of the people have any kind of exposure to Bitcoin directly, indirectly. I still think it's early. It's still early. So, but what percentage I would say is no more early? I think that will be like 10. So at least, which means okay, there's like some kind of maturity. Because again, not everyone can like invest in Bitcoin. Come on, like so many people are giving like living like hand to mouth, and they're having. I mean, whether Bitcoin gives 100x, 1000x, 1x, 1.5x, they're like least bothered because they're just figuring out that day at that time, uh, kind of thing. And also people, there are some people who don't want to obviously trust in it for whatever reasons, because maybe they're angry, because of maybe there are many people who will lose money because of their minimum or uneducated greed, as well, and that they decide that okay, I don't want to come to Bitcoin ever again. So but that will be the decision, generally people have regretted with whomever I talk to. So yes, so I think if it is equity markets, we were talking about 4 or 5% of it in India, maybe including the mutual funds, it still does not even reach 10. But if you see the similar one in US, I think I'm ready to be like 30% plus, which is a lot bigger percentage. So, but if you do in average, if it is like 10% of the people have exposure to crypto and they have invested and have done the diversification, I think that will be a little bit more mature market. So, which essentially means at least we have 5x more number of people. 5x more number of people does not mean 5x the price.
Yeah, the
It
5x from the
it's number of
previous.
people only, number of
Yeah.
people. So it did what it could eventually mean. We don't know. We'll have to see. But who see for similar or same amount of money and same amount of risk, actually see that okay, people could actually with some efforts invest in 100 Bitcoin 2013. Okay, so if it is like 17, then people could try to figure out like 10 maybe, well, I'm just talking about like the income tax paying classes, right? So like what is possible, what is not possible. So in 2021, even one was tough, like super tough. They have to like work maybe for years to figure out like how to get one, and there will be time where you will actually do the same thing for point one, right? And very interestingly, if you, because we know it's like 21 million Bitcoin and more than 90% of it already in circulation, and we also know it's about 7 billion plus number of people, and if you give the fair share of Bitcoin to everyone, we are talking about 0.003. Okay, so now 0.003 is how much today? So we are again talking about, I think, around 30,000 rupees, 25,000 rupees maybe. Zero,
Yeah,
zero,
maybe.
yeah, 0.003. So 25 to 30,000, and that's at least the fair share of one person, and that is at least something someone one should hold. I think. I mean, that is definitely not going to kill anyone, irrespective of how poor or how um, whatever situation is. But they should aim for something like that. If it is not too much, is what I think. But in an exchange like Unocoin, we provide ability for people to buy Bitcoin from 10 rupees, right? So
Yeah.
for a period of time, just do that, and uh, prices could go up, prices could go down. Just close your eyes; it's still fine. Um, but at least you have your fair share, right? So you should plan for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I personally believe in invest whatever you can, 10 rupees a day. And I think, previously also in a couple of other episodes, I've told that my theory of investing is very simple. I have a daily budget. Whatever I save from it in the day, I put it in a different account. Next month, I put it all together in the SVP. So this way it keeps getting deducted, and I can keep investing in it and without having to think about कि अच्छा आज क्या price है, कल क्या price है. I don't even have to think. So dollar cost averaging is happening there. It's such a simple way, and it's not like I don't look at price. I do look at price, but not in the sense of I should grab this chance. I don't have FOMO,
No,
and it gives me peace of mind.
yeah, no, the reason why you look up, I mean, whenever you're looking up price and you also feel like you're doing good with whatever decisions you have taken in the past, and then you will not want to stop because you have actually seen it in front of the eyes, that's like going up, and you want to hold it for long, and anyway it is not like you're selling off your assets and buying this. It is some part of diversification of your savings. um, and very interestingly, other thing I've noticed that at least in one of our exchanges, when we talk to customers, for a lot of them, they never invested in real estate or equity markets or anything like that. The first thing they're investing is in crypto and Bitcoin, right? So You like you okay. uh, See, but you are associated with the industry
Yeah.
indirectly and indirectly, right? So, but it is not so for normal people, and normal people who is at maybe age of 25. The first investment that they think of doing is Bitcoin is like the big thing, right? So, and then my first like, how come you're like now getting married, you're 28 and you're not investing gold? It's just like it's gold is so physical. So, it's not like what the freedom they feel when it comes to Bitcoin, right? So it's always different, and that thing new people can feel, but the older generations, it's tough for them to feel it.
Yeah, it's tough for us to also explain it to them because, they are set in their own ways, and somehow a very long duration. I don't know if it is the right way to put it, but then I think for the longest time, people have only believed in the things that government has endorsed. Now, with we clearly see the resistance with investment market altogether, not alone Bitcoin, where government is very protective of the citizens in terms of, they should have the proper knowledge, disclaimers have to be there, this and that. It's good, it's a good initiative to protect the people, but at the same time it's preventing the individual economic growth that somebody can have. Because looking at the disclaimer itself, I think as a kid, when I used to look at those mutual fund disclaimers, after looking at that entire ad, I used to be like, oh, okay, there's the catch, it's risky, I'm going to lose my money, no use doing it. So I think that's the attitude most people get when they look at such cautious practices. So it has to be eased in some manner so that people can come out and learn about it. At least I think I see this generation still being much more active with at least mutual fund side of the things. But yeah, Bitcoin is more of a Gen Z thing nowadays. So Gen Zs are very much interested in it, forthcoming and college itself. And I think a major reason for that also is the opportunity, the career opportunity that tech kids are getting in Bitcoin. So they are developing on the Bitcoin network, and they are getting good monetary support around that, and this is also helping them out with their career. Is that's a good start for anybody.
That's yes, that's very true. And the Bitcoin is the first step to learn the benefits of decentralization.
Yeah.
There are so less number of people who know about blockchain but not Bitcoin, right? So it's like you learn it through an example,
Hmm.
and you cannot get a better one than Bitcoin, right? So, and the moment they learn about Bitcoin, actually they want they usually get pulled towards the properties of Bitcoin and how it works, and you want to be a part of it than just like the blockchain side of things, right? So, I have not met anyone who actually know blockchain but not Bitcoin. So,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
academic wise, yes, and now people are learning about it. Um, and we still in India discussing whether it should be legalized or not. When people are already like having the subjects on top of it, and they're learning and doing the masters and bachelors on top of it. But anyway, India is a reserved country. Like it has its own reservations, and maybe India is whatever it is because of that. So that's okay. Eventually, we want to see more evidence before anything else happens. That's fine. I think the good thing is the evidence is available across the world, not just in India. That's like this thing. Yeah.
That's great. And Satvik, I have one more quick question because we are nearing the end of our session. This has been a very common practice with Bitcoiners using a pseudonym. Do you think it's purely inspired by Satoshi, or is that because there are privacy concerns around Bitcoin and developing on Bitcoin?
See, I mean, it depends upon people. So there are some companies, including like the new entities they are creating to launch tokens and such, where they don't even want to put the real identity. They'll put some kind of cartoon saying that okay, this is me, it is my representation, uh, kind of thing. And there is like some kind of NFTs and such as well. So um, it's I think it'll continue to be there. And also, if you see. Just because people are investing in Bitcoin, there are who are like 2% of the people, and there are 98% of the people who have a different view about those 2%.
Illegal people.
Yeah, illegal people. When you say illegal people, why someone is doing some kind of illegal activity? Because there is more money in it. So now they'll be like richer out of it. But is it legal or illegal? and they become run. Then you have like your own comparisons kind of thing. But there is 98% of people like that, and 2% are the only one who have some kind of um, you know exposure. So it is obvious that few people don't want to get really publicly recognized, and there are so many people in Twitter as well who used to have their own pseudonym, and it took maybe few years for them to come out and say, okay, the real person behind this is me, right? So, and I also see sometimes the female are not seen as competitive and dynamic in the crypto industry as male. The number of co-founders, if you see in all the crypto industries combined, it's like less than 20%,
Yeah, I agree.
right? So and uh, so a lot of times they use pseudonym because uh, they have their own insecurities because of their own sometimes dependencies and their own society circumstances, etc. as well. So I think that will kind of stay. I guess pseudonyms. Sometimes you also wish, I also wish, a lot of people wish. And they are like, why did we put big up like whatever we did? It should have been fine if we just like used the word pseudonym, and it would have been fine because it's you know at least email you have to say what it is. You will say, okay, Shambhavi30445 something like at gmail.com or something. In crypto, you are anyway, even if you're saying anything about you are talking about an address, Bitcoin address anyway. So like where you really need to tell about your name and identity, maybe you don't need to a lot of times.
Yeah.
When you're right, lot of contracts wise, it will be a lot of times smart contracts, right? Or else you only disclose yourself to limited number of people where you need to sign the contracts and such. And when you need creating I mean entities and such, then you're not, a lot of times you may not even be creating it in India, creating it elsewhere, and you're part of it or you go there. So I mean, not about you, but generally, people, right? So to what extent, look, what is the benefit that they're getting with really associating themselves with exactly whoever they are? So that actually will reduce because you are not trusting people, you're trusting code.
Yeah.
So whether you call yourself Shambhavi or ABCD, just like people don't give it a
I agree with that, and that's also good. And for some reason, I've always liked my name, so I always keep my I use my real name for the things, and a lot of people, prefer otherwise, which is fine to each its own.
A lot of people think like if you're not using your name, is it like you're doing something illegal? It's not.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a personal thing, no? Like, if I want to use my name, I will use my name. If
Yeah,
somebody
it's like a
doesn't
pen
want
name when you're writing some kind of like poems or essays or anything like that. So yeah, in this one, it's whatever you are, whatever you claim to be on internet. I mean, like who can question you anyway? So
Yeah, I mean, everybody has made fake IDs back in school, so this is nothing different, I believe.
um, happens.
Okay, so Satvik, just to end our session with a quick banger question, and I ask this question with a disclaimer, everyone who's watching, please do your own research. This is just an opinion and just an interaction
I know
between
that.
two curious people.
I'm asking about what is the prediction of Bitcoin next year.
Not next year, 10 years.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Higher than what it is today. That's it. Just like no. Mm.
Higher to hoga hi, but just a casual hunch because just a random number. Disclaimer I've given.
I mean, at least like 500k. 500k is like easy peasy.
Yeah, that's the lower mark in my mind.
Maybe another 15 years, 20 years, maybe even a million. But a lot of times, the reason why it could reach million is also because of the total timeline where people end up losing for one or the other reason, right? So anyway, now we are actually predicting 20-25% of the Bitcoin is lost.
Yeah.
Likely, and Satoshi is not like doing anything. His crypto itself is about 5% out of the
Mm.
20%, which is not like usable. So when that becomes 50%, but that becomes like because that percentage, or once it is lost really for whatever reason, then it is never coming back, and you cannot manufacture it back.
Yeah.
So that essentially means only the remaining one will continue to become like more and more value. Lost is lost forever. I mean, again, we may always talk about the total market cap, but the real market cap of whatever are the usable Bitcoins could be today about 70% of it. Remaining 30 is like gone, kind of thing, right? So, but as that 30%, whichever gone, continue to increase, I mean, it will definitely increase in 20 years. There will be so many people who will die with Bitcoin, and for whatever reason, they themselves are not able to recover, or like for whatever reason, they lose it. And if it is another 10%, 10%, losing 10%, 20, 15% in 20 years, like worldwide, is like easy. Definitely, it's going to happen. So when we approach like 50% of it, then the remaining will have the value of this as well, right? So technically speaking, even though the market cap is whole total of everything. So yeah, that will be one of the reasons why it's not just because people want to bring in more money, right? So
Yeah.
20 years, 1 million is like a very reasonable thing. Maybe in 10 years, 500K is a reasonable thing for me.
Yeah, 100%. And, I'm very bullish. And one of my friends, actually, one of my minor friends told me that people are working on a mechanism with quantum computing, which is going to help recover all the lost bitcoins. Now, I don't know how much is that going to be, actually true in the coming days.
No.
No,
People have the complete wrong notion of what is quantum computing.
I don't know. I'm not a techie. I
What
don't know.
it is that simple, right? So whatever name you have given it as quantum computing OTK. Okay. So it just means it is capable of processing much way faster. That's pretty much it is, right? So, but are we talking about like trillions of time faster? No. Billions of time faster? No. Millions faster? No. Maybe 10 times faster or maybe 100 times faster, right? So, if you think 100 computers can do X amount of work, and based on quantum computing, one computer will be able to do that amount of work. That's like the reality, right? And if 100 computers can crack a Bitcoin private key today, then one can crack if it is a quantum computing. But the 100 crack? No. Thousands of them crack, millions of them crack? No.
Makes sense.
So, if you see the total amount of combinations in the private key, then you literally have that number to be somewhere around, if I remember right, something around 36 or 40 digits long. Okay.
Okay.
So now, presently, the number of seconds one human live, for example, right? So if they are living for 100 years, it is not even 10 digits for your 100 years, like 86,400 into 12 into 365 to 100, right? And for every extra digit that you are having, you are multiplying with 10, 10, 10, 10. So you're technically multiplying with 10 another 30 more times.
Oh, bapre.
Okay. So with that kind of um, combinations that exist, and if whatever your friend is saying is true, that there will be a day when there will be a quantum computer through which they'll be able to recover their Bitcoin, the biggest likelihood is someone else will do it before this person will do it. True, right? If Sathvik can do today, then Amazon with their computing power would have done it long ago. And there is so many people would have done it long ago. And the second thing is, if it is quantum computing and if you're using it anyway, it need not be lost Bitcoin. Why normal Bitcoin itself? It's anyway you're trying to
Yeah.
the code. So that will come down to then what will happen when that day really comes. Then, like how SHA 256 got upgraded to SHA 512 sometimes because they want to, like, they'll upgrade the number of bits and make it more complicated. So the active number of bits will eventually gets upgraded like that. So if I have one Bitcoin and then I look at a version 2 of Bitcoin address, which is a little bit more longer, because one letter longer is adding you 56 times the combinations. Okay, so if I'm bothered about it is like this, right? I have 1 GB RAM today. But what does it take for me to have 56 GB RAM? Maybe 10 years. And that change of 10 years is one single letter addition to your Bitcoin address.
Okay.
Understood? And if you add three more, then technically it is 10 into 10 into 10. 1,000 years. You're getting it or no?
I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
Okay. So that is how. I mean, we're not talking about a realistic upgradation or calculation of like so it's not true. I don't think so. Even if it is true, definitely not in our lifetime.
Mm.
So it is like in 1950, people just little knew about the calculator, and they were thinking, okay, there will be a day when a computer kind of thing will get invented, which took 70, 80 years, 70 or 80 years, right? So, but whatever I'm talking about, we are talking about millions of years. And another simple thing you need to understand, right? If anyway, it's like encryption, decryption, right? So if we feel like, okay, this may not, if let's say I'm Satoshi, right? If it is not like million years, there is a little possibility that if really things go very good, this may happen in 1,000 years itself. Then what I'll do, I'll just add 3 more characters. Then it's like done. Now go figure out. Right. Right. So it was that simple, and that is the power of the combinations and permutations. So, yeah, it's not, and anyway, it's like in theory.
हाँ 100% एंड अभी इतना सुन के मुझे लग रहा है अरे बाप रे इट इज सो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड
I mean, it's so complicated, and that's why you feel secure. No,
yeah I mean
if it is not complicated, then anyone can guess the private key of my Bitcoin with some computing. Then why would I trust Bitcoin?
then there's
That
no
is
value
actually the
to
thing.
it. You know, a lot of people ask me what is the intrinsic value of Bitcoin. I say it's logic, which most of our other
See,
things might
look,
lack.
I think when it comes to Bitcoin, people should stop asking questions that they ask everywhere else, and they should understand some questions doesn't apply here because we don't have it an example. So if you know about Bitcoin and then you ask what it is for Ether, okay, you can explain it. But if you're coming from complete zero knowledge, class from asset class from everything else, what is intrinsic value? We don't know. Is it physical? We don't know. Why someone is paying money? Because someone is paying money, and there is a demand. So, whichever in whatever way you try to explain, I myself have felt like, okay, the more and more I learn, it's like there are more questions unanswered. The more questions are unanswered because we are trying to ask questions to the crypto and Bitcoin, which we should not have because it's a question itself is invalid.
Yeah.
That's the tricky part. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Very interesting session today, Satvik. I think for a we completed or we compensated for all the sessions that we have missed. We had such a nice session today.
Sure. Okay.
And we are going to have another session after Bitcoin hits 100K because that is a celebratory session which we are supposed to have. So until then, everyone who's watching, stack sats, stay humble, and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you so much, Satvik, for joining us today and imparting such great quantum computing knowledge as well. Because yeah, it was quite insightful for me personally. Okay,
Sure.
thank you. Bye bye. Good night.
Good night. Bye.